So how's everybody doing this evening? All right, there's going to be a little bit of participation in my 10 minutes, so brace yourself. I'll try to take it easy on you. Show of hands. Who can see my screen? All right, good. You're participating. Show of hands if you know what digital adoption is. Okay, wonderful. Booth's right over there. So we're very lucky to work with over 65% of the Fortune 500s and most of the banks, 6 of the 7 in Canada, and the 7th is signing up. But having said that, digital adoption platforms are relatively new when you think about a CRM being around for many years. So allow me to introduce the concept of a digital adoption platform. If everybody could just close their eyes for 1 second. You're in your car, you're driving, you're lost. You open your eyes, you see your GPS on your dashboard. Now you can open your eyes. Doesn't it feel nice to know that somebody has very intuitive, smart, directional guidance so that if the Gartner is closed or if you're driving in New York and one of the bridges is closed, your GPS can reroute you and get you to your destination quickly? That's WalkMe. So we're a digital adoption platform. We're the GPS that sits on top of the dashboard, but in this case, it's not your car. It's any application. WalkMe is an overlay content. It's JavaScript. And thank you so much, OpenFin and FinJS for inviting me, and RBC and Kim and Chris, our customers. Thank you for bringing me here because WalkMe is JavaScript that gets inserted onto the page as an overlay and guides a user or a customer in real time, just like a GPS. And that's a simplified version of what we do. We also automate, and we're going to talk a little bit about some insights in the space. We've been around since 2011. But truth is, I don't know many of you. There's so much work to do as a team. If you think about digital adoption replacing traditional training in the future or now, if you think about the automation of workflow with companies like WalkMe that can not only guide users, but eliminate clicks and automate tasks, we could be the Uber. Right now, WalkMe's guiding you like a GPS. Tomorrow, maybe you push a button and it just finishes the task for you. So what we're going to do today is talk about some of the value that we've seen with our customers, but we're also going to, humbly start with some insights and trends. The global software industry revenue is increasing, and we all know from our colleagues here and the wonderful partners at the booths and the wonderful companies like Tier 1 and even Salesforce.com that there are some very big players in the space. But when you look about how much revenue and money is being spent as a percentage of a company's operating budget on software, unfortunately, productivity is at a standstill. What does that mean? Does that mean that the software is not built properly? Of course it does not mean that. The UI could be perfect. Business processes, workflow get in the way of task completion. When you onboard new employees or customers, they don't know how you want them to do business. WalkMe is your execution. Digital adoption is your execution of process completion. It sits on top of the UI. But it's your direct execution of the business process. That's me in the morning with a bad hair day, but the truth, more hair than I have, but the truth is that employees are overwhelmed. When you think about change management and you think about what it takes to wake up in the morning and know that you need to do your job and also learn, it'd be like trying to ask somebody to learn how to drive for the first time, right? Wouldn't it be better to send them to driving school, maybe even put a GPS on their dashboard? With digital adoption, our hope is that with in-application guidance that sits on top of the application that gives the user help when they need it, not when they don't need it. Maybe they'll retain what they learn because they're doing it in real time with GPS-style guidance as opposed to forgetting what they learned in the classroom. Now from customers and customer onboarding, think about it. If you look at RBC and BMO and a few of our wonderful partners who place WalkMe guidance for their customers on customer-facing applications, imagine what it's like to go in and do banking at RBC Express, for instance, right? A business banking application and have WalkMe guiding you and holding your hand. Is it possible that it reduces support tickets to RBC? Absolutely. Is it possible that it increases and improves customer experience because they're being guided just like a GPS would guide you in your car? Absolutely. And I can humbly say that I represent the space. WalkMe is the leader in digital adoption. So what we're talking about here is not just about WalkMe. It's about a space that we created. It's a Gartner space now. And we're really excited about the quadrant being released any day now. So show of hands, who believes here in the room that the executives at their company have very good visibility to the ROI and engagement of their technology investments, the user engagement. Oh my goodness. There's one. There always has to be one. Always has to be one. Okay, now, if you had the data, if I were to give you a magic crystal ball that said, here's some data where you can see which users are logging in, where they're dropping off, what processes they're completing. If you had the data, which, by the way, you could have if you have the analytics dashboard within a digital adoption platform, but if you had the data, who believes they could do something about it that's scalable? Who, put your hand up if you believe I told you right now your 5 top investments in software has XYZ processes being completed, XYZ processes that are dropping off, XYZ customers and employees who are doing their job, XYZ who are not. Who believes they have a scalable way to go out and execute and course correct? Saw one hand go up and go down. At the end of the day, this is why digital adoption is here, and we hope that as a team and as partners we continue to improve and learn from each other. It would be nice to be able to have an executable, scalable way to get people to do their job and get customers to do what you want them to do and what they want to do. Only 3% of CIOs report harvesting the benefits of their tech strategy. I mean, that's a pretty dramatic slide if you ask me, but I put it up there anyways. So this is a pretty busy slide. I just want to talk about 3 things: productivity, scalability, and visibility. Productivity. I've been going on and on about it for 5.5 minutes. I think we understand it's easier to drive with a GPS than to get out and read a map at the gas station when we're lost. Done, okay? Visibility. What if you did have a single pane of glass that could paint a picture that says, Tier 1 is doing really, really well, and these employees are using it really well. They're the super users. Let's copy clone that behavior on Tier 1 or Salesforce.com and teach the onboarded new users how to be able to execute the same way the super users do. What if we could harvest that data and get all of our users to be super users? And what if we could put it in the application like a GPS on the dashboard so that those beginning users are not walking down the hall and asking for help instead of doing their job? That's visibility, seeing where the holes are in digital adoption and being able to course correct. And the scalability is if you have a digital adoption strategy and you have a platform that can execute on these things I'm talking about, change management's not that scary. I'll tell you a personal story. At WalkMe, we use HR applications like you all do. At one point, we were using ADP. Now we use Workday. I lead business development for financial services, specifically in Canada, but also in certain segments of the East Coast. But I have a pretty busy job. I have a team. I was not affected by the change management from ADP to Workday because the walkthroughs and the WalkMe guidance that helps me every day do the tasks that I don't want to do on my own were the same look and feel and the same guidance when we switch to another HR platform. We can remove the friction with scalable change management when people are being guided as opposed to having to learn from zero all over again. How does it work? We're an overlay technology. There's no integrations to the back end. There's no changes or APIs. We drop JavaScript. We've had a beer or two or not. We drop, actually the answer is no, I'm waiting for one, but we drop JavaScript on the page from a browser extension. That's one way to deploy. The WalkMe browser extension drops JavaScript on the page, the content guides the user. The other way to deploy, if it's customer facing or if you own it, is just put our JavaScript snippet in the back end of your page, between the header and the footer. When the page loads, the WalkMe content loads on top. At the end, we don't affect performance. And the content's built by the business and the subject matter experts. Insights, that's the visibility. If you could actually get data on what people are doing right, wrong, and how, wouldn't it be nice if you can replicate that and try to course correct some of the bad behavior of your employees and customers using software? Guidance, wouldn't it be nice if when people needed help, you could show them in real time while they're doing the task, instead of just showing them in a webinar or in a sidebar or in a job aid? If this sounds somewhat provocative or like I'm challenging the room, it's because I am. I'm lucky to work in new tech. When you work in new tech, your job is to say, hey, you've been taking taxis for a while, let's get in an Uber. So don't take it personally. Automation. If you come to my booth later, happy to show you. You can actually be in one application, click a button, it can go order a laptop for you on ServiceNow and boomerang you back. As long as your user or your employee is signed on via SSO or has access to some sort of an application, you can have WalkMe or any digital adoption platform drive cross-application workflow and keep the user in their seat doing what they're doing on their app. We can surf the UI just like any UX surfing from browser extension or from JavaScript in the back, we have the ability, digital adoption platforms, to give the user a very, very singular experience when they're executing their tasks. That's it. Maybe I'll show you a couple things. We got 60 seconds left. Check this out. And then come to the booth if you want to see more, by all means. There's Salesforce.com. There's WalkMe. Let's create an opportunity together in real time. Not a simulation, right? Just like a GPS. You don't drive in the GPS. You drive in the car with your wheels on the ground. You're driving in Salesforce right now. All WalkMe is doing is overlaying guidance. You can even put data validation rules and say if you don't follow the rules, WalkMe is going to course correct it. User segmentation, right? Have the ability to show Dan, me, a walkthrough that maybe Chris Seeley over at RBC Cap Markets sees a different one because he's my boss. You can have functional or geo-based. Chris wishes he was my boss, but I guess he sort of is. He's my partner and my customer that I love. But at the end of the day, you can actually segment the content so that you see something different than you see. And with that ability to do user segmentation, it gives you freedom to actually put your energy into a scalable adoption process. It's not peanut butter spread universal. I'm going to continue on here, and I want to point something out. It's not just walkthroughs. You can have a smart tip and use WalkMe to just hover your mouse over something and give the customer or the employee information at the point of need. You can even embed resources like a money converter. We are essentially the dinner plate, the communication vehicle to your users. You put whatever you want on for dinner. The difference is you're actually going to have them eat it in real time and not eat it in some classroom when they're going to forget it. I want to apologize on behalf of myself and if this sounded a little bit salesy. I do these talks a lot, but the truth is I also work in business development, and you can't, you can only take a kid out of the neighborhood so long until they are who they are. So thank you so much for your time.